If you want to make money online as a writer, you need a way to guarantee that every offer you build is something that people want to buy. And so today I'm going to give you a framework that makes sure that happens. I've used it to make over $1.4 million in the past 5 years, and I've helped clients across multiple niches at different expertise levels build six-figure and multi-six-figure businesses with this simple approach. It is the smartest way to get paid for your ideas, and it blows my mind how people don't follow it more. So grab yourself a cup of tea and let's dive in. And by the way, this is the most important concept for building your writing business. And I know this because I learned it the very hard way. Quick story, back in July 2025, I crossed my 5th year anniversary as a writer. And I thought it'd be a fantastic way to show my audience my progress by going and finding my first blog post from 2020. So I digged into my old Google Drive and I'm looking and I'm like, where the hell is all my work? Because I knew that I'd started writing early, but the first post that I could find was October. So there was like a 4-5 month gap between writing and actually producing something. And so what the hell did I do all summer? And then it all came flooding back to me, because the first thing that I built as a writer was a guide called Get in Dentistry, which is a way to help students get into dental school. Now, I spent hundreds of hours writing this thing, and I remember how excited I felt every morning when I wrote it, and then how terrified I was when I had finished. Because what I had done right was solving a problem that I had experience in, but what I had done wrong was everything else. I had no audience to sell it to, I had no way to know if people actually wanted it, and I had no way to know if any of the ideas within this ebook were any good. And this project died a disappointing death. And if I'm honest, it's probably for the best, because I don't want to be writing about teeth anyway. But there are a graveyard of entrepreneurs and writers who have fell victim to this mistake, which I call the cabin in the woods cock up. It's when you have an idea, you disappear for 3 months to build it, and you emerge with a piece of crap that no one wants. You cannot afford to waste time like this. You know, if the only reason I managed to continue was because I hated my 9 to 5 that much that I was willing to keep going and keep going. Since then, I have been working very intentionally to make sure that everything I build is something that people want, and now I'm going to show how you can do it too. So the strategy is called test the water, and the key concept behind it is that you validate before you create. Now in engineering, there's this concept called a fail-safe, where basically it stops something going towards catastrophic failure, and that's what we want to do as writers and entrepreneurs too. Instead of diving in and building projects that we're not really sure are going to work, we go step by step and make sure that we're validating every bit of our idea, so that when we do actually get to the end point, we've built something that's really in demand. To put that visually, you're not diving into the water head first, you're dipping in a toe to see if you like the temperature or not, and then slowly submerging yourself. So let's do an example just so you can see this in action. Let's say you want to release a new offer. Here's how it goes for most people. You have a new offer idea, you whip out your copy of $100 million offers, you build this grand slam offer, you disappear for ages thinking it through, and you dive into the world and nobody bloody buys it. Instead, it's great to have an idea, but we think, what is the first step of validation for an offer? And it's simple. It is to speak to people. So before you go and build anything, you're going to go and have conversations with people that you can serve. When clients come to work with me, particularly if they're starting up a new business, the first month, all we do is focus on conversation and connection, because all of your problems, all of the things that what should I build, what should I say, all comes from just speaking to the people that you can help. And so what you want to do is, let's say you're on social media, let's try to send hundreds of DMs and have 10 one-on-one cool conversations to find out what problems people have. And then you can quickly see where the common trends are and think, okay, that was my offer idea. Does that line up with a bleeding neck problem? So a bleeding neck, by the way, this is an expression that people don't buy pain vitamins, they buy painkillers. Well, trust me, no one cares about a painkiller when they're gushing from the neck, and that's what you're looking for when you build these offers. So after you have a series of conversations, you will have validated a problem that you think you could solve. What happens next? Again, most people will then disappear and they'll create this intricate offer. They've got the pathway, they've got all their frameworks, they've got all the assets to help their audience win or their customer win. And then again, no one buys it. So instead we think, right, we've dipped our toe into the water. Why don't we try half of our foot next? What does that look like? Well, I'll tell you in a moment, but one thing I just want you to appreciate is that if not validating your offer is one big mistake, not learning copywriting is the other. And so that's why I built the Sucks framework. It's a simple copywriting framework to improve your content, ads, emails, whatever you're doing to communicate persuasively. It's free, it takes 5 minutes to read, and it will immediately make you stand out from the noise. You can download that below. Otherwise, let's carry on. So the key here is that you do not build an offer, you build a plan, because we don't want to actually build anything until someone has paid for it, okay? Until we have someone ready to take it, we're just living in theory land, right? And if we're in theory land, the worst thing we could do is take a ton of action. And so what we do is we think, okay, here is a problem that someone has, and we want to create a transformational offer plan, i.e. something that I can take to someone and say, you are here and you need to get here, and I can do that for you. The really cool bit about this approach is that you'd be like, well, who am I creating this transformational offer plan for? The people you just spoke to. If you want someone to buy your offer or to invest in the offer, you want them to go, hey, this is for me. The best way to do that is to build it for someone that you've just had a conversation with. Now, if they don't buy this offer, then you validated the fact that maybe it wasn't as in demand as you think, and you can go back to the drawing board and begin to say, well, what do we need to adjust to make sure that this offer is in demand? You are in essence here making noise and listening for signal. And so there's going to be multiple ways you can see if an offer worked or why it failed, but I'll give you a quick story to show an example. I had a client who had released a new offer in a new market for him and he had no responses. And so when we saw that, we could look and say, look, he's got the skill, the offer's great. What's lacking? Well, we think it's proof. Okay. And because there was no proof behind the offer, we said, look, let's take a step back and let's go and deliver it for free to 3 people first. Okay. Because if we can't even deliver it for free, then we absolutely know that this offer is not worth pursuing. But then he did manage to get people for free. They loved how it went. Then he got case studies, and then he went back to the market and released it again at a cheaper price point initially, and he actually started to begin to build momentum. And now he has his first 5 paying clients from this offer. He has begun to push for premium, which we'll speak about in a moment. But can you see how we have tested the waters? We found that we needed to make an adjustment. We made that adjustment, and then we can continue the path. So here's the really cool part about this approach is that when we do get someone to say yes to an offer that we haven't built, you get to then build it with them, because you don't build the perfect offer on paper, you build it with people. Right? And it's something that I have learned myself a few times. It's always an important reminder. Don't plan too much, right? Because as soon as someone pays you, there's something weird happens that goes from theory land to action land where you're like, oh, everything I thought they needed was completely wrong. And so they pay you, you deliver what you think they need live to them. And then the key part here is to listen for questions. Any question you get asked is what you need to then teach them next. And so you are in essence building this offer live with these people, which is then the next step of validation, because by the end of that program, you've got something that's helped someone generate a really good result, and you can take that to someone else. And this is where things get really interesting, because if you can nail your offer for one person, the whole world opens up in terms of opportunity. And then we can actually start to build a 6, or in my case, a 7-figure business, simply because we validated before we create. So we can apply this same logic to what happens next. Let me explain how this might evolve for you. Number 1, your first choice is to push for premium. So what I mean by this is it's okay to create an average offer at the start because you don't know, but it's not okay to keep it there. And so you can just keep the same offer, which by the way, I'd advise one-on-one for validation at the start. And you can say, I'm just going to scale this bad boy to be a fantastic one-on-one high ticket service. That can then be your biggest offer, which I can say is like your inner fortress of your writing world, where your highest trust fans can come and invest in the people that want to spend lots of money with you. Then you can take that same offer and start to think about applying it in a different way with different levels of leverage. For example, instead of delivering it one-on-one, you can deliver it as a group coaching format next. All the material is there. You know it works because you've delivered it one-on-one with people. But this time, instead of having one-on-one calls, maybe you take on 5 people and you can have those on the call together. This lets you create more revenue. It's a higher leverage asset and you're not so tied to your time. And we can keep expanding this this out. Instead of a group coaching, you could do a cohort version. So cohort, let's say you take on 5 people for group coaching, you decide for a cohort, you're going to take on 50. You charge less money, but you give less access. And this actually then creates more customers that may actually move into, let's say, your one-on-one back end. We also have stuff like a community option where if you want to create MRR, so you've got recurring revenue coming in, then you can take the same idea, which was validated, and you can create a community format with slight adjustments. So, the important part of community is that you have accountability, we have ways that we create group connections. But the main mistake, if we try to just snap out of this for a moment, if you try to build a community without validating the transformation that you're providing, it's super hard to work out what people actually want. The final step of this, as we're moving up the ladder of leverage, is a digital product. Products are amazing because you build them once and can sell them many times. There's very low marginal cost of replication. But the mistake people make is that they go and build the product and then try to make it fit with their audience, when actually what you want to do is build something that serves your audience one-on-one in a live format and then turn that into a digital product. Because that way, when someone buys this thing, A, it actually works, and B, inside the product you can have loads of material that you've developed with clients, so case studies and examples. And then what happens there is that people buy it and they go, damn, this guy is for real, or girl. And then because you've created all these other offers at different layers of leverage, they go down into your world, developing more trust, giving you more money, and you get to serve in a better way. And so this concept is to validate before you create. Don't dive in, test, keep asking yourself, what is the first step of the thing that I am trying to do, and see yourself as an experimenter. What went well? What went to hell? How can we improve on what we've just did? I hope this helped. And if it did, you might enjoy a video that I made on where you can actually find these clients. I give you 7 different ways in order to get paid for your ideas. It should pop up on the screen now, and cheers for watching.